All right, welcome everybody. We're going to go into the second episode of Superbly Said, and
Yeah.
we're going to start with some phrases.
Yeah. So some phrases I found from last week, some of our lessons. So it's from the lesson Social Niceties. So the first phrase is lose face. So like to suffer a loss of respect or to be humiliated. So I guess the question from last week was, how can losing face affect someone's professional reputation? Do you have a personal or professional experience of losing face?
Good one. It's pink. Losing face. I feel like I'm always on the verge of this, because I find I'm constantly reminded of my immaturity, and yeah, it's something that I need to. Well, let's see how it goes, but that I'll need to continually develop. Can't think of an example. Let me think of some. I'm sure. Uh, what was the question again? How has losing face helped something?
So it's how can losing face affect someone's professional reputation? And do you have an experience?
Can't think of one myself. I'm sure that something will come up, but as I said, there are moments when I think, "Wow, I'm so immature. Like, I can't believe I'm still this immature." I can't think of any examples right now because of my fish brain, but I think, but of course, in the professions that I've been involved in the past, people have lost face. Not to my like immediate colleagues, but stories of people. So, I was an English teacher most recently, previously in my role as priest, and then in the medical world, people lose face all the time because these professions are in positions of authority.
Yeah.
So there's a lot on the line if something goes wrong or if someone misbehaves. So I think losing face, yeah. I mean, each of those have different types of examples, but misdemeanors, I suppose, are probably the most prominent. Sexual misconduct. Priests is the biggest one. That's the most popular one in the media, and also it's a reality that I was exposed to through my parish placements. There was a priest who was, I guess they lost face, but they also, oh, excuse me, they lost face, but they also, completely went to jail and so on for,
Oh,
for sexual misconduct. But I think people can lose face for smaller things. I can't think of an example right now. Do you have one?
wow, that's really intense. Like the examples you gave. Yeah, because those professions too, it's high stress, so there's a lot to lose when it comes with losing face and those type of instances. Oh,
Yeah, I've got another one that's not as extreme, but still embarrassing, and people can lose face to some extent, which is losing one's driver's license due to racking up too many points. In Australia anyway, there's a point system where, state by state, but in my state, New South Wales, I think you can have up to 12 points of point deductions every time you make a traffic infringement.
yeah.
And as a priest, you really rely on your car to get to all your ministries. And there have been priests who have lost their license and have required people from the community to drive them around. So that's losing face to some extent.
Oh, why do they lose the license? Because they're not good drivers?
Yeah, yeah. No, I think it's because, yeah, I guess you could say they're related, but I guess they're not all law-abiding citizens. Maybe they speed, use a mobile phone, or run a red light. Takes it all adds up in terms of the points, literally, and end up costing one's license or in terms of getting suspended. So yeah, that's happened to some people I know.
Oh,
So it's rather embarrassing, but your integrity as a priest ultimately is not hugely compromised.
yeah.
That is just one of those, that I can remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, that's pretty awkward. I guess that kind of or like from my experience, I was thinking about a few like with work or in my personal life. Um, Sometimes it's kind of awkward when you run into people. Like back in the day when I used to work at certain places or show up to the dentist or something, and then going to the dentist is already awkward because the dental hygienist always says something like you should floss more or things like that. But then like going there and then seeing someone from high school and they have access to all your records and stuff, it's kind of somewhat related to losing face. It's just
That's happened in your experience. You went to a dentist and you're like, oh shit, why the hell are you here?
yeah, yeah. They weren't the hygienist, but they were the receptionist. And then I didn't realize someone from high school was going to be working there, so I just came dressed like really bad, and it was
Should have done your makeup.
yeah. But I was having to go to the dentist, but they're gonna spray on my face anyway. So
No, well done, well done. That's funny. So that's but I mean, you didn't really lose face too bad. I don't think.
yeah,
I mean, everybody has a dental history, so it's not going to be can't get that bad.
yeah, it wasn't too bad. I think the worst for me was last year at work, when I was still teaching at the school. And then there was this one class I had and it was I've had them for 8 weeks already. So twice a week for 8 weeks. But it was one of the worst classes I had. And the students they wouldn't listen and they were just really crazy. And I usually have patience, but I guess it got so bad. And there's always so much I could do with discipline because the parents are very strict here, and then I can't even like put them in a room and like scold them or anything because they'll tell me.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, yeah, the one day I came into class and it was just a day that I was like extra tired. I just started crying and I ran away crying.
Yep.
So yeah, I guess that's like losing face, literally like because usually I'm very serious when I'm teaching, but then like that one day I just broke down and told them.
Wow. That is actually not that uncommon though, actually.
Oh,
Uh, well, I don't know about the system here in Korea, but I mean, in terms of uh, teachers having breakdowns due to the actions of the students, collectively just being completely out of control.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I think it's unfortunate, but it's a reality that's pretty common.
yeah. Yeah, I know a few I think it was last year or a few years ago there was a teacher that because of the tiger parenting in Korea, it
Right.
big thing and then a lot of the teachers they don't have a lot of control with the classrooms because of just they can't.
Well, they're not given the authority at the
Yeah.
school. Mm.
And then there were like teachers that would it would bring them to the point of suicide. So it got that bad where a lot of teachers started
Yikes.
um just that was the last resort for them, I guess.
Right, right. I think there's more that can be done for teaching teachers about how to discipline students. and there has to be a policy in place that prevent this stuff. I certainly had difficulty disciplining my students when I was a teacher. To I think 11, 12-year-olds and then 14, 15-year-olds, so year sevens and year nines. So yeah, it was tough, especially the year nines in the second half of the year when they're just like, oh, I've had enough. They're checking out, and yeah, it was tough. It was really tough. And I had bouts where I was just like just about to explode with rage.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was just yeah, and that ends up being very unfair to some of the students if you would be on the wrong side of that rage.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not good. So yeah, I would say yeah, I've lost faith rather when dealing with student discipline. It's a tough one.
Yeah.
It's a tough one, especially if the school is not on your side, or they don't make it easy for teachers to yeah properly control the classroom by escalating to the school, having students suspended, these kind of disciplinary actions
Yeah.
could help.
Yeah, exactly. I think with them, I think teachers can only do so much in the short amount of time they have too, and just also with there's not that much support that they can get because there's so many students in the classroom, and there's this maybe one or two students that are rowdy, and that it kind of interrupts the class, and then there's not another person you can reach out to because they'll just be like, oh, you should control that or something. They don't give you options.
For sure, for sure. I have another example of losing face. Somebody who left the priesthood after having been ordained and publicly recognized as a priest. Lots of people came to the ordination event, and I conducted a mass also at the Korean community, which is considered my home parish. So people support the priest there. There are a lot of people who came to that event and supported me, and really, really egged me on to continue and to pray for them and everything. And then when I left the priesthood, that's that left me completely deprived of any. Well, I didn't. I guess I rejected it too, but of any respect that they had for me as a pastor or as somebody who would lead them spiritually in the community. So actually, I didn't come back to Australia for many years, and I think consciously I actually avoided coming back because I lost face so massively in that context.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was to be around the Korean Catholic community would be shameful. It will be a shameful, externally, a shameful thing. And I think internally I felt it too, because I did bring people along. I really did believe that I was going to be a good priest, but, it's a lifelong commitment in terms of the actual, the priest's duties. So to leave so quickly after having been ordained, I was only ordained for something like 6 months.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was definitely losing face, but yeah, that was the last of my worries because I wanted to look after my own life.
Yeah.
And the values that I had believed in and had started to understand better. So yeah, that's what led to losing face. So sometimes it's not the end of the world.
Yeah. Oh, that's really hard to go through because, yeah, I know how they kind of was it like a shunning that you felt?
Well, I didn't really go back to the community itself. So it's a shunning on both sides in the sense that I left, but I didn't really try to go back in for any community activity in the church. You
Yeah.
see. So there wasn't real shunning happening. Because I was so far away. I was studying in Rome, and I returned to Rome after being ordained, and that's when I left the priesthood. I was, miles and miles, thousands of miles away from my community. So if I was in Australia, if I was in Sydney, I think it would have been much more difficult to leave, even if I had the same thoughts. If I started to understand my position, it would have been much more difficult in terms of having to face that barrier, that shame barrier, or other like social influence to overcome those influences. But I was actually away. I was really far from the community. Of course, I lived with priests, and I knew them for some time, and then also those who I actually went through the seminary with, they were in that same city. But when I left, I wasn't really ashamed. I was just like, I'm out. So actually, it wasn't that bad. I packed my bags, said goodbye. I was out of Rome within a week. I
Wow.
went to Milan.
Yeah, that's like really fast. You just kind of bounce out.
Literally bounced. I literally bounced. There's still a box of some of my goods and belongings in this historic seminary in the middle of the city of Rome, somewhere in the attic, I suspect. I said I would come and pick it up eventually, but I never did.
Oh, would you go back and get it? Or,
I don't think so. I think it's got like my snowboarding gear,
oh,
that kind of stuff. I'm not sure. Speakers and things like that. I couldn't fit into my luggage.
oh, well, that's quite it's quite the journey. And now um, you're working in a startup from
Yeah.
these to four.
Yeah. I think that's what I can think of in terms of losing face. Uh, Also, I guess losing face in front of our team members. When I'm keen on making a bet on a certain feature or a certain target market, and I'm very gung ho about it. I'm very easily enthusiastic about things, and then we could dedicate months to a certain project, and it could be a complete failure. That's horrible. That's been quite horrible. I'm very grateful to our team for continuing to trust and to continue, and continue our work together. But that's rather shameful too. But that's part of the process. We have to make bets, and I'm learning. I'm definitely learning, getting better at testing the theories that come to mind before doubling down, from going too hard into one aspect or the other. And that's why we do much more user interviews, much more talking with our users. I'm watching more Jeff Bezos, and he always talked about the customer. And although we're currently a free product, I think we will learn a lot more once we become monetized. But yeah, because he doesn't say use. Jeff Bezos never says we are user first. He always says customer first. So I think we're a little ways off, but definitely understanding and speaking with the users, core users, is helpful to not make the same mistakes.
Yeah, yeah, because they're kind of experts in the platform. Because I mean, that they're the ones that actually use it, and what works or what doesn't. That would be the first to know.
Exactly.
What?
Yeah. So any other examples for losing face?
I guess like what? Sorry.
No, I was going to say, we did go through the definition, right? To lose one's reputation.
Yeah, kind of like loss of respect or humiliated. Like,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Losing
that's
face. It seems to be a big thing in Asia. I remember it's like shame is one of the principal what is that? It's the overriding what do you call this? Frames of social what do you call this? It's like a social, it's not zeitgeist, but it's like a social uh, layer. Some people's face, people's reputation. It's such an important thing in Asia. Maybe it's a Confucian thing, but in Korea, reputation goes a long way, and that's why people kind of, when they're affiliated with those that have high reputation, companies, people, etc., a lot of respect goes towards them, and vice versa.
yeah. I kind of noticed that when I moved to Korea, like there's so much emphasis or importance with reputation. And even if you post a bad review on someone's restaurant or a company page, then like it's suing defamation or particularly associated with anything bad. So they don't want to lose face in any aspect, I guess.
Right, and I think people quickly. I think there is a utility to it. I mean, it's a quick way of pigeonholing or categorizing people into people that are worth your time or not. I think maybe because people in Korea are exposed to so many different people, they need to quickly categorize people. And if you're affiliated with an association, you're backed by this kind of, you're backed by the name of someone else or some other institution. It helps the other person speaking with you to understand whether it helps them judge you. It's very judgmental, but quickly ascertain whether it's worthwhile speaking and continuing the conversation with you. Unfortunately, it is unfortunate because you're judging a book by its cover, but that seems to be the way things go here. It's kind of like online dating. If the photo is the main and primary first thing that people judge the other person by, in Korea, it's by association with institution, place, or name. So I met somebody on the weekend who was like, "Oh, I'm an English teacher in Cheongdam or some town in Gangnam."
Oh, okay.
And I was like, "What's that? Like, where's that?" And he was like, "Oh, you fucking idiot. It's obviously the best place to be teaching." But he didn't say it at the end like this, but I was just like, in my mind, I was like, I do not give a crap. You teach. Right? Yeah, it was funny. He was just like, "Oh, gee, you must not have been here very long. It's the best place." You know what I mean?
Wow. Yeah. I guess because Cheongdam is a pretty affluent area. There's a lot of rich families that live there. Because
Right.
one of my friends worked there and they got like really nice gifts from the students and stuff. But they don't do that anymore. They're not allowed to get gifts from students. But yeah, Cheongdam is I think the higher end places, I guess. But I don't know anything about teaching there, if it's better or not.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I guess it's human nature that in terms of categorizing and ranking people according to their history of associations.
Yeah, I guess it's also really important in Asian cultures because same with in Vietnam, like if you lose face, it's not just your reputation that you're tarnishing, it's your family because you're kind of connected somehow. So like if there's like a neighborhood girl in my hometown in Vietnam, and then she would I guess she got pregnant out of wedlock, and then all the neighbors would just be, "Oh, her parents, they didn't raise her well or something." So it's not just her that's losing face, it's like her whole family.
Does that mean you don't see the family around anymore? Like to show your face around after such a story, would be like doubly shameless and I don't know, even
Uh,
worse for their reputation.
I guess I don't know. I feel like they try to they're kind of isolated too in a way. Like people still interact with them, but also sometimes if it's a really bad sort of thing that happened in the family, like there was like a domestic violence where it got really bad, and then they would just um stop talking to them, and even like their like cousins and their families would not be involved with them, but they'd still kind of do things. They just won't have any friends or people close to them.
Yeah, yeah. It's horrible. It's horrible.
Yeah, I guess
I
it.
think
Yeah, yeah.
if we go back, oh yeah, sorry.
Sorry, what?
No, I was gonna say if we go back to the story that you told about disciplining your students, the teachers need to have recourse to um the policy and the actual framework of discipline that is exercised by the school, so that the teacher can escalate any issues. And society itself has established a certain way of disciplining those that fall out of line. And shame is one of those methods
Yeah,
that's ingrained into the society so that it can keep people not necessarily on their toes, but following the, I guess, majority ways of being and helping the harmonious existence of people in that society. And there is just that principle. Even in the West, it's there. Um, it's just not as extreme as in Asia. But yeah, it's such an interesting thing, and it's localized. It's localized to some extent,
yeah,
but it's yeah. If you're thinking about shame, it's just such a horrible situation to be in. You know.
yeah. It's like pretty isolating, or it could be, especially if, when it's your own family or friends that do it. Like, if it's in a workplace, that's okay because you can get another job. But I mean, if it's your immediate people around you, that could be quite hard.
Yeah. I mean, we are such social beings as humans. That I think I heard that a right to a good name, like you said, in the negative sense, defamation which takes one's your reputation away. Is one of the I don't know if it's a human right, but it's a right that's protected by law.
The
Defamation thing.
oh, but like everywhere?
Um, I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but it seems to be one of the mainstays. Defamation seems to be everyone's. Everyone has the right to a good name.
Yeah, yeah,
Like we're very dependent on other people.
yeah. That's true. Yeah,
Something.
social truth. Yeah,
It's an interesting thing. All right. Yeah, I think we have covered that a little bit now.
yeah. The next phrase, in the same boat. So it means having the same situation or problem as another person.
Oh, right.
And the question is, how can recognizing that you're in the same boat with others help in a teamwork situation?
Oh, okay. So you're what? You're gonna sync with the crew or rise together.
Oh,
Is that what
yeah.
you mean?
I guess.
Yeah, we're in the same boat. I can't really think of one right off the top of my head. It's quite difficult for our learners to deal with these questions that are thrown on them like into as soon as they meet each other in the breakout rooms.
Yeah. I think it's harder too because this one, if you're not there for the class or the lesson, and you just think in the same boat. It's like, have you ever been on the same boat as someone?
Yeah, it's very vague.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, to be on the same boat, to be on the same boat. I guess in one way I did think about this, again, referring back to my life in the priesthood. I realized that the church was not going to change for the next 500 years. And I didn't want to find myself on the same boat as others, just waiting for it to change. And in a way, I'm on the boat, with the church, which is, frankly, a sinking ship.
Yeah.
Not only in terms of leaking numbers of people participating or attending churches or masses, but it's sinking in terms of its ideas. It's become a vessel of conservative values, and I think the origins of the church were always intermixed with this tradition, of course, being a proponent of religion, but it also was supposed to be a conduit change. It was a revolution in a way by martyrdom, which was started with Jesus. So it lost that flavor. It lost that flavor when it started to become a legitimate institution, and it's become just an arbiter of traditional value, and people basically outsource their deeper thoughts on life to religion, and they come up with some ridiculous stuff. So I had to jump ship. That's it. I mean, to continue the metaphor a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I found myself, in the same boat with those who were going down, going down with the ship. But I wasn't going to go down with the ship, I guess.
Right. Yeah. You had to go on those the other, the ones the extra boat. Yeah, those ones.
Yeah. The little hovercrafts and the lifeboats.
Yeah. Birds.
What about you?
That's a good example. In the same boat. I guess like when when I just moved to Korea, I was kind of lonely because I didn't know anyone, and I didn't have anyone here. But also, I didn't speak the language too, and I didn't know anything about Korea. But I started forming a really close friend group with my coworkers. So the girls that I met there, we were in the same boat because I guess we were all here for some sort of way to get away from our hometown or our home cities and stuff. And then we kind of just connected that way. And we would meet after work and talk about how we didn't like working there. And then we're still pretty close. And we talk every day, pretty much. So...
Does that still continue after having left that institution?
Yeah. We are still friends outside of the company because it wasn't just work that we would connect with, but we would go on trips with each other and kind of explore the country together too, because they also didn't speak Korean and they didn't really know where to go, so we just kind of learned together. We learned how to navigate, and it was so much easier, I guess, because if it was just me, then I wouldn't have had access to a lot of things as fast as I did, because, starting out in a new country is really hard, and forming a community with people that are also in the same boat as you or from similar backgrounds, like, I think it could really help with just the what's that word? just like, I guess, like getting used to your new environment.
Yeah. I think thinking more about being in the same boat, it's relevant most, but I think it's best used to describe a situation where people in the same boat happen to be somehow antagonistic towards each other at the beginning, and then they find out, well, wait, actually, we're in the same boat. So it could be applied, for example, if you with your teachers were kind of judging or not wanting to befriend those in your school, and then basically ignoring the fact that you were in the same boat. Am I going the right direction here in terms of understanding being in the same boat and recognizing, oh wait, we're in the same boat, guys. We're all looking for community, so there's no need to judge each other.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that could be related too, because if you're all hating on each other at the same time too, I guess that means you're in the same boat. And then after you realize you're in the same boat, but in another sense. Yeah.
I think it can be extrapolated to the online dating scene. People come onto the online dating scene thinking, oh, I'm too good for this, or that online dating is definitely below me. But, everybody's there. They're in the same boat in a way, in that they're looking for a more convenient way to find somebody.
Right. Yeah.
Can't judge the others being there.
Yeah. There's always like another reason that people do things. It's not always what you think like initially, but if you're in the same place at the same time, there's probably at least a few similarities that you have with that person.
Yeah. That should really make us think about all the negative things that we've said about institutions or people so far in this episode. Like it's like talking down those in the church who continue to live a religious life. Well, we're in the same boat in the sense that we all gonna die, and we all kind of need to go back to some traditions. Like on the weekend, my dad and we went to the tomb where my grandfather is buried, my dad's father, and we put extra grass on the tomb. Like it was dry, so we added a little bit of turf on the mound. And I mean, why did I start talking about this? We're in the same boat in the sense that I'm going to need to rely on tradition to bury me, and I'm going to rely on tradition to, we do have these traditions that are really governed by religion or by society that helps us as a crutch, if you will, to maintain a sense of sanity. And we sometimes, I think I will have probably a Catholic funeral. I don't know. Like I'm still kind of beholden by institutions that, like these customs. I do end up going. I imagine I will be going back to them in some way. It's just by default, because secular society hasn't really come up with anything so significant.
Right. Yeah. Unless you want to be buried like in one of those pods and then you grow into a tree.
Oh, okay. So there are new ways of dealing with these things, huh?
Yeah, but it's very, very expensive. I think
Even more expensive.
Yeah, because there's not a lot of companies that are doing that yet. But
Well, I wonder, actually.
there's a few options for burials, but yeah, I don't know. I guess it depends on you or in like your family, what you want.
Yeah, it's trying to add flavor to our existence. And because, at the end of the day, these are the most important things in terms of, life and death, like literally.
Yeah.
It's that really underpins our life, thinking about death. In a way, I don't know. I don't know what the best way to, or a good way to go about that. I don't know what the best or good or a better way to go about that is. Because we're all getting older. I do feel like, like what is the best way to live? We can easily go through life without questioning things because those that have gone before us have already tested things, and if we just follow their path, it must be all right. But at the same time, it's if you look at history, like people have espoused pretty dubious lifestyles for and held them as good lives. So yeah, I kind of think about those things and think we don't need them, but then we seem to still go back to them.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like people have been doing that forever. There's, like you said, like with the Catholic Church, their whole thing is gonna keep going for a long time. Well, it's kind of a shame, even though the world is changing, the whole thing around it is very static, I guess.
Yeah, it doesn't change too much. And that's one of the values they've started to double down on. Like, oh, we're a traditional institution. Don't expect us to change much. And that's why you should stay and join us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that's like it in kind of more general terms, we're all in the same boat in that. Yeah, we're all gonna just die eventually. So it's like judging people like if they have more money or if they don't have money, like we're all just going to be like in the ground or dust or something.
Yeah, it's interesting. The church actually uses that to get people to trust the church more.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, we have a ritual, the Catholics, from dust to, you came from dust and to dust you shall return. That's a Lenten practice on Ash Wednesday.
Oh, God.
And, yeah, it's to remind people of their mortality. And you really need God because at the end of the day, you're going to die. So you need to put your faith in God who is going to take you to the eternal realm. But it's a little bit, well, I guess it's humbling. It's a reality that we are indeed going to die.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really want to end on this note. I think there's more to say about death and life. Like, but there is something there in terms of what you mentioned regarding people having amassing riches only to die, which is just a reality, right? And I read something today about again Jeff Bezos. He's a friend of his whose company he bought called Zappos. His name was CS. So I can't remember the name, but the CEO and the founder of Zappos. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but they sold shoes online around the same time as Amazon, as they came to the fore. And the founder went through some manic episodes. I think he had some psychological difficulties and some addictive behaviors or some addictions like with drugs and so on. But in any case, he had hundreds of millions of dollars to his name because he sold multiple companies. And he literally went down in flames. He actually was, he suffered from burns. Not sure exactly what the circumstances were, but was, I think, in a bout of paranoia that he locked himself up in a shed, which caught a fire, and he died like that at the age of like 40 something.
Oh my gosh, that's horrible.
Yeah, it's horrible. So we are all going to die. It's really it does make it seem like we have to live with treasuring each day, but I'm not sure. I don't know if we even have to go that far.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I guess I mean like with Jeff Bezos and that guy, it's kind of like you know when we went to the startup events and stuff? It's like you're in the beginning stages. Well, I mean, kind of beginning.
Oh yeah, for sure, early stage indeed.
Yeah, and then when we met all those other people, and at first I was very nervous because I didn't know what it was like because I didn't know who we were meeting or if they were like like they're gonna be mean people
Oh, right. Okay.
or something. Because
Snobbish.
yeah, when I think of business, I think of people who I don't know, like Wall Street, those people from Wall Street, and they're like, "How I'm busy, I'm on the phone or something."
Right.
But but when we went to all the events, everyone was so friendly, and they're like, "Hey, we've been there with you before. We're in the same boat." And now we have so much investments from other companies. And
That's a good one.
yeah, it's like they have the same problem in the beginning. Like uh, it's kind of the same situation, but in a different font, I guess.
Yeah, I mean this founder of Zappos actually was kind of living that life, giving back to the startup community, making investments, and trying to support early founders as well. So let me see. So Tony Hsieh, Tony Hsieh, Hsieh, is the one. And in a way, if you think about it, he did live a pretty amazing life, not only in terms of his net worth, but his uh, willingness and drive to help the community afterwards. He did not only in terms of investments into these companies, but supporting the community, tried to grow a community and giving back. Um, so I think that that's something that I would love to do as well. Um, and I think that's why in the startup community, because of the difficulties that everybody faced in terms of building their company, they are happy to do that. They are
Yeah,
happy to do that. That'd be a great way uh, to live life, to contribute to others who are coming and trying their best to make a difference.
yeah, yeah. I think I know. I've seen a lot of companies like that too, and they were starting with nothing, and then they developed their company, and it became very successful. And then they became angel investors, and then which is find different startups and help them become successful.
Nice one, nice one. So I think we've come full circle in a way. We talked about death, but the one of the antidotes to death is life in terms of supporting the education and supporting the development and growth of children. Like you as a teacher, I think teachers play that role. Society plays that role. Just observing like birth of new people adding their new ideas is a great way for there's some hope for something new and for good things as long as the old people or people going out are supportive rather than um destructive.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Or they're open to suggestions.
All right, so I guess yeah, we're in the same boat trying to find. I think I've tried to steer this in a philosophical way to talk about meaning of life, but we're in the same boat in terms of wanting to contribute as well as going out eventually. But doing our best, I think, to find our place and do what's good.
Yeah, great way to put it.
All right, so I think that's brought us to pretty substantial episode.
Yeah, we talked about a lot today. We went over 2 of the idioms from last week. So first was the saving face, and then the second was in the same boat. Yeah.
Fantastic. So if you'd like to discuss some of these phrases and the discussion questions that come from them or based on them, check out ispeak.to, where we gather every day to practice our English speaking skills.
Yep. See you there.
Ciao, ciao. Bye-bye.
Bye.